So back in the day was this guy, right? He was all by himself, but he didn't really recognize that he was by himself, mostly because he knew God's purpose for his life. He had heard straight from him, right? And he was like, yo, I know what to do. Just got to name them all, right? So he's like, oh, look at that. That's like a rhino, I guess. But he looked at the rhino and he was like, you know what? He got a little dangly part, just like me. So I guess that'd be a male rhino. And that one over there, it don't have dangly parts. So I guess it'd be a female. And he looked around and was like, all right, yeah, there's two of them. All right, that's all I see. All right, cool. I mean, all right, I'm seeing a pattern here. And so he's like, I'm gonna call that a spider monkey, right? And there's a male monkey and a female monkey. And he realizes it's just him. It's just the male him, and he does not have a helper. And he asks God for a helper. And here's what God does. God puts him to sleep, takes his rib out, and make him an helper. And like everything else, he got to name his helper. He called her female because he is male. He called her female. And God said, be fruitful and multiply. And you know what, guys? That's the origin of marriage. It was something that God made. Man didn't really ask for, but it was definitely something sanctioned by God that fulfilled that need that a man had. And a whole bunch of responsibilities came from it for the man, but also a commandment to be fruitful and multiply came from it. So if you hadn't heard that story put that way before, that's the origin of marriage, especially from a Christian perspective. And a Christian marriage is built on the foundation of a lot of shared beliefs and mutual support. And you know what, as a lot of us as men who say, hey, we're gonna live our lives for Christ, part of that, for most of us, is gonna be finding a wife and having a family. And so today I'm gonna talk about some things you should consider at the top of mind when you're looking for a wife. So men, let's get at it. Hey, I'm Rob Johnson and welcome to the Legacy Gentleman channel. As I talked about today, a very important part of being a Christian man and a man is to get married and start a family. In that order. And so today I'm going to talk about some things that guys should really consider when you're thinking about making a woman their wife. I'm going to start with this very beginning, which should make sense because it comes from the Bible and it says you shouldn't be unequally yoked. And that is, you need to have shared value. Yeah, see, you need to find a woman who has the same Christian faith as her value. You want to have somebody that has a strong spiritual connection with God and that her relationship with God is the cornerstone of her life. And you know what? You need to make sure that's true in your life before you even start embarking on this kind of relationship to find a wife. She needs to have God as the cornerstone of her life, but you need to first have God the cornerstone of your life, and you both need to have a mutual understanding that if you're someplace in Christ together right now, that in the future 5, 10, 15, 20, 35 years, y'all are both gonna grow in understanding of Christ together. That should be your goal. So men, first thing, ensure that your faith in Christ is shared in a mutual way. When we think about the story between Adam and Eve with God, Adam existed and God gave him stuff to do before he was able to have his wife. He had to be a certain way. There's characteristics and qualities he had to have before God removed his rib and gave him Eve. So men, you need to understand there is a preparation process that you're gonna go through first. And if you really wanna know what a good preparation process to have, I recommend that you use this book as a guide for yourself. And that is by Voddie Baucham. So who you hear me talk about a lot. You gotta have this mutual beliefs and shared values. And so a natural offspring of that is this woman should have a character of integrity. She should have a strong moral compass. She should be honest, have a genuine commitment to living by Christian principles. And guys, that's going to be very important. Firstly, that you're living up to that. You're living up to that integrity. There's a lot of principles to the Christian life that is really hard for people to live by. But you know what? You need to be a man who's living by those principles, and you need to find a woman who has those principles and, more importantly, going to help you live up to them. That woman that you have needs to have character that is strong and godly and live by integrity. So I would definitely be remiss as a communication professional if I didn't bring up, you guys really got to get your communication skills right. And like I said, I think I'm super guilty of is just treating my wife like she's me and expecting that communication that would work for me would work for her. But we really need to seek a woman who's open and honest about communication. And dude, part of that is how comfortable you make her feel. But you are responsible for breaking them down and fostering this environment where she understands and trusts you and are able to come to you with the hurtful stuff, the stuff that she wasn't able to work through before you got married. And you need to understand you probably got stuff you need to work through also. So man, get a woman with communication skills, work on your communication skills. Now I think this next thing is probably kind of a check more than a requirement, because Christ isn't going to put someone in your life that you're not supposed to be with and that these things don't match up. And that is, you need to have compatibility of your life goals. Like I was talking about with Adam, how God had him doing stuff and preparing him before Eve was brought into his life. Men, women that you choose need to be on a path to become a wife. Part of that is really kind of emotional maturity. Look, it's hard being a husband, it's hard being a wife. I ain't never been a wife, I have a wife. It appears that some of it's a little bit difficult. And so you absolutely need to have emotional maturity. Guys, we gotta work on our emotional intelligence. And I hate that term because it's really just being sympathetic to people, understanding people where they are and meeting them there to meet their emotional needs. It's still a challenge to me because I'm dead inside and I treat everybody like they're mean, like they're dead inside. And it's sometimes an issue, especially raising daughters. You want to give people grace and understand that they have essential emotional needs and that this person can understand that you have needs and they have emotional needs and you both are looking to meet those needs of each other. That's what emotional maturity really is, taking the focus off yourself and being willing and able to meet someone else's needs. So man, make sure she's emotionally mature. If I had one more advice about finding a woman to marry, it would be nothing about the woman. It is this: get premarital counseling. You really need to go through premarital counseling together. It'll help you address potential issues that are going to come up, and really all these other things I talked about. It's going to help you see where a problem may exist or absolutely exist, and it can help you from making the biggest mistake of your life, marrying someone who has a different view of marriage, that has different beliefs than you, have a different view of the roles of marriage. That's all stuff that's going to be a lot tougher to fix after you get married. So men, insist on pre-marriage counseling from a Christian counselor that specializes in marriage. So I've been married to the same woman for 25 years, and it has been the most fulfilling part of my life. It has absolutely had its ups and downs. It has had times where I thought, this ain't gonna last much longer, to the times where I'm like, this is how I want to spend the rest of my life with this lovely woman and this wonderful life we built. But you know what? It all takes work. It started off with me working on myself to become the man that God would have me be, and then me listening to God about the right woman to marry and the right type of woman to marry and the right expectations to set for marriage and for us to build a life together, grow in Christ together, and give each other space to be who they are and get to know Christ fully on their own individual level. But guys, marriage from a Christian perspective was created by God for man with the purpose of having us be fruitful and multiply. I think that if you're building a lasting God-centered marriage, it's going to take your time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take prayer, but it's going to be well worth it. So men, check out that book so you'll know who you need to be, and take some of this advice to find out who you want her to be. And I want to thank you very much for stopping by the Legacy Gentleman channel. In this channel, I talk about faith-based manliness and a bunch of other things that'll help you be one of those men with the values, skills, and works that'll be admired and desired 1,000 years from now. So if this video has something that you thought was useful, please like it. And if you want to be that legacy gentleman, please subscribe to this channel and tune in next week for another video that's going to help you grow. Until next time, go be legendary.